Hi guys, Louis here, and welcome back to Acorn Hill. We're sitting in this part of our living room where we have an overhead window coming from that end, really illuminating a few of our plants. We have a growing collection of house plants, but our episode today, our vlog, is not about the house plants. I'll make sure that we properly do a good episode on that and highlight and showcase a few in our collection. But today, I wanted to just let you guys know many of you have been very curious about our garden. The platform that I used before was Facebook. It has been a very effective tool. A year ago, this weekend marks the first year of Acorn Hill's garden. Our property, we bought this 10 years ago. But slowly, life got in the way and jobs and schedules and whatnot, that I was able to do just little parts of the property where we have planted key features and key plants, including the hydrangea that you keep seeing on my vlog. Last year, we've decided to do a major overhaul in the backyard, do proper landscaping, create that elevated garden that we've had on our plans, and started putting in serious plants that will benefit not only the environment and the pollinators, but really for us to enjoy throughout the year. North Carolina is very unique in that we have very short spring, a brief winter, short spring, and boom, summer. July and August right now is the lull period of the garden. I mentioned that to you guys in other vlogs as well, and starting to order plants and bulbs for next year. It is empty right now in terms of blooms. I have to say the only plant that's blooming July and August are the tiger and Asiatic lilies and oriental lilies and very good performing limelight hydrangeas. But I know there are a few more that will tolerate the heat and the conditions here in central North Carolina. So that's what I'm doing right now. Also today, I wanted to answer a question. It is not a Q&A, but I feel like this question merits a certain episode of the vlog. I don't have any garden, veggie garden. Vegetable garden for me is a whole new different animal. Not that I don't like it, but I think it should be done properly. And again, that's a journey, that's a series that we will go over and go through together in the coming months. But there's a question that came through on Acorn Hill on the channel, and it came from Julius. He's a former student and a friend of the channel, and he asked, Louis, could you include, actually it's not a question, but he was wondering if I could include tips on how to prevent ants, pests, and other critters from eating and destroying their vegetables because they hold and operate a small organic backyard vegetable garden. So I figured, hey, you know what? It's a good opportunity for me to start diving into. I like getting informed and I like reviewing and reading up literature. And it's a good opportunity for me to start doing this because I'm going to have a vegetable garden anyway. Speaking of, I'm planning on doing that next year. Julius lives in the Philippines, and different climate, different weather patterns. So I referred him over to another friend of the channel, a former student as well, and a friend of mine, Suzette, who owns Sweet Nature Farms, located in Sta.Maria, Laguna. I figured that the two of them could network, talk to each other. Julius can ask her questions because I applaud the efforts that Suzette has done for this farm. She started it in 2015 as a culinary and herb farm where she sold, different things and maybe for chefs and whatnot. I'm just assuming that. What a good way growing our own food, knowing what we put and knowing how to prevent pests from decimating our food. I think it's a good exercise altogether. So let me get back to answering what Julius was really curious about. Now, organic farming means you don't need to, you minimize or you don't use any synthetic type of chemicals. And I think it's a good way to go. The first thing to get rid of ants and any insects, critters with those exoskeletons type bugs is diatomaceous earth. And this is what I use. It's an organic product and it's made by Garden Safe here in America, and it's reasonably priced. I got this from Walmart, and it shows it very clearly over here that it would kill all these insects. Any kind of insect that you know that has that type of skeleton, diatomaceous earth will get rid of. Another thing that I use is cornmeal, just ground up cornmeal. And let me tell you what each does. With diatomaceous earth, you want to apply, this is powder, this is similar to talcum powder that you use. You apply this on the area where you see ants. If there's an ant hill, put it right on top of that ant hill. If you see ants, crawling and creating a path from one point to the other, getting to your vegetables, then sprinkle it right along that path. Now what this does is, it's not poison, but it coats the entire body of each of these bugs. And when they harden, when this thing hardens on top of their skeleton, the second they move, the thing cracks, their joints collapse. That's where they die, and that's how they die. The other thing is cornmeal. Cornmeal is similar to ground up oatmeal, and it's an attractant to ants, because when they start carrying that thing and they go through their little path, they ingest it, they bring it down into the anthill, which is what you really want, and that's what they often do. When they bring that down in the anthill, they ingest that, they eat that, it expands inside their tract, their digestive tract, or whatever the case may be. When it expands, that kills the animal, that kills the bug. And that has worked really well for me, because when we first had our home, I had 2 major anthills get rid of organically, and applied that one season. That anthill, those anthills, gone. But this, plus the cornmeal, good combination. Now, how do you do this even more preventively when you're growing vegetables? Now, what I found out also is doing plant combinations. Meaning when you plant your vegetable, there should be another companion plant that will either attract all the bugs, all the worms, all those critters that destroy the plant, the vegetable, or really just repel them. So that's what I wanted to tell Julius. We all grow tomatoes, any kind of tomatoes, right? Well, the best companion plant, meaning you plant that beside the tomato, is basil. Not only do we get tomato and basil on a dish, which is, we like doing, basil and marigolds are good to plant along the patch of your tomatoes. What it does is the basil repels, because it gives off a smell, it repels flies and mosquitoes, preventing them from laying their eggs anywhere near and around tomato. And so do marigolds. Now, there's another plant called calendulas, and when you plant them right next to any of these crops that I will mention, you want to use that as the host plant so that all the critters would go to it and decimate the calendulas and not the actual vegetable. Okay? And I'll put a chart up on the screen, that way you guys get to see what I'm talking about here. The next crop would be cabbages or brassicas or any type of vegetable that's similar in nature and in composition to a cabbage. Now, cabbages, the second you plant them, and when you plant the starter plants, it gives off a smell right away, which will attract white butterflies. These white butterflies, in turn, will lay the eggs into and within the bed where you have your cabbages. When that happens, you get eggs, you get larvae, you get worms. It's the worms that are the problem, and will start eating away on the leaves, on your crop. That's what we want to prevent. Now, how do you do that? What you do there's another vegetable, and I can't seem to remember it right now, and it's such a common thing. Those little cabbage-like vegetables. This is going to be a blooper for sure, but I can't remember them right now. I'll mention that. We'll edit this properly. You want to put a net on top of it the second you put the starter on your garden bed. And the reason for that is you're preventing the white butterflies from coming in and laying the eggs, which will decimate your plants. Another way when you start doing this is when it's too late and you start seeing, you look under the leaves, and when you see these eggs, you just have to pick them out or pick the leaf altogether and put them in the trash. That way it doesn't spread, because you want to prevent the worms from spreading all over your patch. The other thing are peppers. We like planting peppers as well. And the good news is, like tomatoes, when you plant your peppers, put your basil right next to it, and that will repel all the other insects and pests as well. Probably, I don't know if you, Julius, planted green beans, but if you did, then you can put marigolds around it to again repel and attract all those pests. Rosemary, you plant a little shrub of rosemary, and when it grows, because it's hot in the Philippines, it will just thrive and grow. Then you get the scent that will repel all the other insects that will eat up your green beans if you have them. Two more, which I thought would be the common vegetables that we plant, would be cucumber. When you put your cucumber, again, marigolds, it does the same thing. The other one would be lettuce. The last one that I have on my list is lettuce, which, by the way, Sweet Nature Farms grow a ton of lettuce, and they have good harvest because I follow them on Facebook. I don't know if they have an Instagram, but I follow them on Facebook, and their lettuces are healthy. They look really crunchy, and I don't usually endorse any product, but when I see the results of people's hard work, they are worth mentioning. And Suzette and her staff and her team do a great job over there. Getting back to lettuce, mint that's planted in a pot. Now don't put your mint on the ground, because this thing will spread like wildfire. Put it in a pot, strategically place it near your lettuce, and that scent and the oils that will come off, when you brush up against that mint patch, those essential oils immediately releases in the air, and that removes and repel any insect, any pest that will be around it. It also repels aphids. The other plant that you could put beside lettuce, and this is the last one, would be garlic. It's all about scents, and it's all about those oils that they give off either during their growing period, if you accidentally or voluntarily brush up against it. These oils are the ones that naturally make these pests go away. Which really, if you come to think of it, all these organic sprays and things that we use have those essential oils in them as their ingredient. So you might as well plant the actual ingredient if you're really into gardening, and instead of buying the bottled one. It's a win-win. What else? I think I've answered all of that. For Julius, yeah. That's it, I guess. It's something interesting today because I'm not out in the garden and I'm not doing any DIY. I'm just here, sitting by the plants, enjoying the sunshine. It is hot outside, so summers, August, I tend to go inside, either putz around and do a few items here, and talk to you guys. Show off a little plant or two, which hopefully soon we will go do a proper vlog on our indoor plants. But for now, I do appreciate your time. I've mentioned this before. We are growing. Your contribution, your questions, your comments are what drives me to do this. I have a lot to share, and I want to celebrate you guys. I want to celebrate Sweet Nature Farms and other people and other organizations that are doing a very noble thing out there on our local community, wherever the case may be. So for now, subscribe, like, share the channel with your friends, and let's grow this together. This is Louie coming from my living room in Acorn Hill, and we'll see you back soon. Bye-bye for now.